programmer jobs here. Let's go ahead
¿Necesitas
and
más
watch this
potencia,
ad because
más
I'm a broke boy and
necesitas hosting, VPS
come on,
de hosting.
I got like another
Bienvenidos a las
account, and
limitaciones
the other
del
account,
servidor y
like I
accede a
don't actually use the
más.
same account. Anyways, let's see what they have to say.
Well, what do you think about the programming context? So software engineering, that's where I personally, and I know a lot of people interact with AI the most.
There's a lot of fear and angst too from current CS students, but there's also that is the area where probably the most AI revenue and productivity gains have come, right? Whether it be copilots or Cursor or what have you, right? Or just standard Chat GPT, right? Like I know very few programmers who don't have Chat GPT, and actually many of them have the $200 tier because that's what it's so good for, right? I think that in that world, we already see it like SweBench. I don't know if you've looked at the benchmark made by some Stanford students. I wouldn't say it's like really hard, but I wouldn't say it's easy either. I think like it takes someone who's been through at least a few years of CS or a couple of years of programming to do SweBench well. And the models went from 4% to 60% in like a year, right? And where are they going to go to next year? It's going to be higher. It probably won't be 100% because again, that 9s is like really hard to do. But we're going to get to some point where and then we're going to need harder software engineering benchmarks and so on and so forth. But the way that like people think of it now is it can do code completion, easy. It can do some function generation. I have to review it, great. But really the like software engineering agents, I think, can be done faster, sooner than any other agent because it is a verifiable domain. You can always like unit test or compile. And there's many different regions of like, it can inspect the whole code base at once, which no engineer really can. Only the architects can really think about this stuff, the really senior guys, and they can define stuff. And then the agent can execute on it. So I think software engineering costs are going to plummet like crazy. And one interesting aspect of that is when software engineering costs are really low, you get very different markets, right? So in the US, you have all these platform SaaS companies, right? Salesforce and so on and so forth, right? In China, no one uses platform SaaS. Everyone just builds their own stack because software engineering is much cheaper in China. Partially because like people, number of STEM graduates, etc. So it's generally just cheaper to do. So at the same time, code LLMs have
wild, bro. Wild stuff going on here. Wild stuff.
Been adopted much less in China because the cost of an engineer there is much lower. But like, what happens when every company can just invent their own business logic like really cheaply and quickly? You stop using platform SaaS, you start building custom tailored solutions, you change them really quickly. Now all of a sudden your business is a little bit more.
What the fuck you wanna do?
Depends on your strategy here, but yeah, the more bots, the more diversified you theoretically can be. AKA the more strategies you're running that can make money independently. But it just depends. It just depends on your approach as well. So but this is really interesting to hear that like in China nobody uses SaaS because they could just build for cheaper. Okay, if you could build for cheaper, your whole stack is built out internally and it's more custom so you can move fast. Well, it's not necessarily gonna be faster, but once you build these SaaS platforms into your company internally, you build your own version, that might take a little bit longer, but then it allows you to be more customized so you can move further, better conversion, things like that. So that's interesting to think about. In China, they've been doing this. And that's why when you go to Upwork, you're hiring these people and they're actually, a lot of them are Chinese and just faking to be from somewhere else, and they'll take any price for your project. They'll do everything. So now that combined with AI, oh my God, development might be free.
Efficient too, potentially, because you're not dealing with the hell that is like some random platform SaaS company stuff not working perfectly and having to adjust workflows, or random business automation cases that aren't necessarily AI required. It's just logic that needs to be built that no one has built, right? All of these things can happen faster. And so I think software, and then the other domain is like industrial, chemical, mechanical engineers suck at coding, right? Just generally. And like their tools, like semiconductor engineers, their tools are 20 years old. All the tools run on XP, including ASML lithography tools, run on Windows XP, right? It's like, and like a lot of the analysis happens in Excel, right? Like it's just like, guys, like you guys can move 20 years forward with all the data you have and gathered and like do a lot better. It's just you need the engineering skills for software engineering to be delivered to the actual domain expert engineers. So I think that's the area where I'm like super duper bullish of generally AI creating value.
The big picture is that I don't think it's going to be a cliff. It's like
Yeah.
we talked to, I think a really good example of how growth changes is when Meta added stories. So Snapchat was on an exponential, they added stories, it flatlined. Software engineers, then up and to the right. AI is going to come in, it's probably just going to be flat. It's not like everyone's going to lose their job. It's hard because the supply corrects more slowly, so the amount of students is still growing, and that'll correct on a multi-year,
Oh my
like a year
God.
delay. But the amount of jobs,
Yo, developers are cooked, bro. Cooked. I need to change this part of my website. Well, I'm taking it down anyway, so it doesn't matter. But this whole fallback thing, it's not the same as when I started. The way I looked at this is, what's the worst case scenario here? What's the worst that can happen of me trying to automate my trading? Did you learn everything? Or this is towards you, but the average, I just thought like, obviously best case scenario, I have my trading automated and I'm grateful to get to that place. But the worst case scenario in the past was I could just go get a job for 100K in the US. I need to change this to like 10K. Oh my God.
will just turn, and then maybe in 20, 40 years, it'll be well down. But in the few years, there'll never going to be the snap moment where it's like software engineers aren't useful.
I think also the nature of what it means to be a programmer and what kind of jobs programmers do changes. Because I think there needs to be a human in the loop of everything you've talked about. There's a really important human in that picture of like correcting the code, like
Thinking
fixing.
larger than the context length.
Yep. And debugging also, like debugging by sort of reading the code, understanding steering the system, like, no, you missed the point, adding more to the prompt. Kind of like, yes, adding the human.
Designing the perfect Google button. Google's famous for having people design buttons that are so perfect. And it's like, how is AI going to do that? Like, that is like, they could give you all the ideas. Perfect button.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You can call it taste. One thing humans can do is figure out what other humans enjoy better than AI systems. That's where the preference, you loading that in. But
I agree. Somebody's got to drive the car. Somebody's got to drive the car and do the stuff you see me do all day, dude. I'm just like, driving the car. I got this idea. I want to build this algo. I want to test this thing. Yada yada. I want to build this bot, whatever. And you're just like, okay, please build this for me. Thank you. I need to run this command, by the way. Please, thank you. Okay, great, perfect. Please run that again. I don't think we successfully removed the web out of it. Gosh, I love it too. I love that pinky action, dude. I learned how to code, but I had to learn how to type first. But now I don't have to type anymore. It's fire. Okay. Fatal. Run command. I don't like fatal sounds.